there, welcome back to my channel. It is Monday, September 30th. I cannot believe it's the last day of September. Somehow, it feels like the month flew by, but also went by at a snail's pace.
Life literally moves in slow motion.
But here we are. Today, because it is a Monday, I am restarting my lesson planning process, and I figured I could take you along with me and kind of explain what it looks like for me to complete a week of lesson planning. So I'm gonna share the checklist that I use, the files and templates that I organize everything into, as well as kind of the general steps that I follow. So get ready for a day of lesson planning. Now, I like to start almost every vlog off with just general updates, and because we're coming off of a weekend, let's start with a weekend recap. Billy and I did a barbecue crawl, at least that's what we called it, on Saturday. We drove down to Lockhart, which, if you're familiar with, especially Central Texas, Lockhart is like the barbecue capital of Texas. So it's about 45 minutes south of Austin. We drove down there pretty early on Saturday. We had a list of different barbecue places we wanted to try. I have to say, the highlight was Barb's BQ. If you're ever in the Lockhart area, you have to go. You gotta get the brisket, you gotta get the turkey, you gotta get the green spaghetti. It was so good. Now, I was kind of out of commission the rest of the day. I went home, took a 2-hour nap, which is very uncharacteristic for me. I never nap, but it was necessary post-barbecue. And then Billy and I watched The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which I saw probably 12 years ago, shortly after it came out, but Billy had never seen it. So we watched that together and then had a very laid-back Sunday, watched some football, did some laundry, meal prepped. I tried a new egg roll in a roll. That's just called an egg roll. I tried a new egg roll in a bowl recipe last night, which turned out really tasty, and it was a great weekend. Next, on to good things. I got this from my school. At almost every meeting, they start off with good things, and I'm like, oh, I like that. So 2 recent good things I wanted to share. Number 1, I finally got my first paycheck, which sounds crazy because I feel like I've been working for almost 3 months now. Like mid-July is when I kind of started this whole going back to the classroom process, and I just got my first paycheck. But essentially, I opted to not start my pay until the month of September. I could have cut out a little bit from each paycheck to get one in August, but I said, I'm just gonna wait. And we only get paid monthly. So as a result, I had to wait until the end of September to get my first paycheck, but I've officially been paid for the past like 2.5, 3 months of work. It was only 1 paycheck though, but regardless, I will take it. I'm not gonna look a gift paycheck in the mouth or bank account. You get the point. Second good thing, herb garden update. We have sprouts from my parsley, which makes me feel very proud. I am proud of my parsley, but it's been a journey. I mean, I haven't learned a whole lot yet. So far, what I've been doing has worked. We're just gonna keep doing that until it doesn't work anymore, but just wanted to share that. And then I guess technically a good third thing, a third good thing. Wow, we're not off to a good start on this Monday morning. It is a short week. We have school with students Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is a staff development day, and then Friday we actually have off. My district is calling it a U day, and I am very excited because I need a me day with all of the things that have been going on lately. Meetings upon meetings and responsibilities that feel like they're never ending, but it's all good, because it's all worth it. I also wanted to share a few recent purchases that are directly related to lesson planning, because I know that's what y'all are here for, right? I got a new clicker, okay? If you know, you know, I teach with slides, like Google Slides, every single day for my math lessons, my science lessons. And previously, I've been using, let me go grab it, hold on. This is the clicker I have been using. It's from the brand DinoFire, and there's nothing inherently wrong with it. This clicker is great. I love that it's rechargeable. It has a laser pointer. It has a little built-in wireless mouse. So from anywhere in the room, I can use this like a wireless mouse. It has a little clip, which is nice because you can clip it onto things. However, this used to work really well for me, and right now it's just not. And that's okay. I'm still gonna hold on to this clicker because like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. And actually, I loved using this when I did PD presentations and all of that, but one issue I have run into is my lanyard. So my lanyard that I've been using recently has this beaded lanyard. I mean, it has beads on it. I don't know how else to say it. And so when I'm not using my clicker, I like to just clip it onto something, but it doesn't clip well onto this. I have to like separate the beads and find string and then clip it. And it's a hassle. Plus, I do not utilize the wireless mouse function on this. And it kind of drives me nuts that every time I turn it on, the wireless mouse will start moving around on the screen and I have to like click the button to turn it off, but make sure that it's off of the slide so that it doesn't keep certain things showing up on the slide. You know how if your mouse is scrolled over certain parts of the screen, like different windows will kind of stay there. Like if you're on a YouTube video, the play button will stay there. I don't know if that makes sense, but it has been driving me crazy. So I got this new clicker. It is still the brand DinoFire. I will link it for you. I also put it on my classroom Amazon list where I have everything from this school year. It has a ring. Do you see that? It has a ring. And I feel like this is gonna work really well because I can essentially put it on my finger like this. I can still utilize my hands, but I have the clicker ready to go when I need it versus having to clip it on something and then grab it. This will kind of keep it always with my hands, but I can still utilize my fingers when needed. And it does not have the wireless mouse, which is my preference right now. I just don't need the wireless mouse. I actually have a wireless mouse that's connected to my board, but it's very simple. It just has clicking forward buttons and whatnot, but I'm excited. It's the little things, literally, because it's tiny. And then I also got these plastic file cases. So this is just a thin plastic box, but it's meant to hold papers. This actually stays in my backpack, which is like my teacher bag, and I utilize it to carry papers back and forth to school. I don't take papers home very often, but sometimes at home I might print something that I need to bring into school, and I don't want to just put it in my backpack because it will get crumpled. So I like to have a case that kind of stays in there to keep papers from getting wrinkled. And I have other cases. In fact, you've probably seen these before in my videos. I got these 10 years ago at Target, and they're great, but they're very thick. And a lot of times I don't need it to be that thick. So this is like a thinner version. It came in a 4-pack on Amazon. So I will link it for you. But as I mentioned, I also put it on that Amazon list. And what I really like is my personal laptop I bring back and forth to school pretty much every day. And if I don't really have any papers, it actually fits inside here. And I feel like it just gives it extra, reinforced support within my backpack. But 2 things kind of related to lesson planning that I wanted to share that I got recently that I'm very excited about. Now let's chat about my actual lesson planning process, starting with my checklist. Y'all know I've got to have a checklist for everything. I just struggle to keep track of everything that I need to do, and so my brain feels safer and more comfortable when I have a checklist to reference. So I'm gonna actually show you what my personal checklists look like when it comes to lesson planning. Now, this is Google Keep. I've shared about this before. If you have a Google account, you can log in, access your notes on Google Keep. They're almost like virtual sticky notes from any device. There's an app for your phone. You can access it in the side panel within Google Drive or Gmail, but you can also go to the Google Keep website, which is just keep.google.com. Now, if you are using the app, you will notice I have these header images. So for example, daily tasks, weekly tasks, and then monthly tasks. These are all just images that I have inserted into the note. It sticks it right at the top. I actually have a set of free Google Keep headers that you can grab. I will link it for you down below. This weekly task header is incorporated in that. So all you have to do is insert it into a note. But as you can see on the app, they will actually look a little bit cut off until you tap on the note and open it up full size. There's no way around that. It's just the way that Google Keep is formatted. But if you're accessing it on a computer, it will look a little bit more normal. The daily tasks and the monthly tasks headers are ones that I personally made. I do have an editable set of headers that you can get in my TPT store. So if you like the free ones and you're interested in making your own, I will have those linked for you as well. But rather than having a lesson planning checklist, I've actually just organized my repeating tasks that I do day after day or week after week or month after month into these checklists. Now, the reason I organize them in Google Keep is because you can reset them with one click versus Google Tasks, which I use for more of my one-off tasks that come up, and once I check them off, I'm done. So within Google Keep, I'll just show you, if I check off some of these items, they move down to the bottom, but if I click the three dots up here at the top and then choose uncheck all items, it will reset my checklist so it's ready to go for the next time that I use it. So an example of some of my daily tasks, I have to log into my school laptop, which is behind me, and it takes a few minutes for it to re-log in, and so I like to get that done first when I get to school. I will update my bookmarked slides. I've shared about this in previous vlogs, but on my Google Chrome bookmark bar, I have a little folder where I keep all of the tabs and things I'm gonna use that day to teach. And so at the end of each day or the start of the next day, I like to get that updated so it's ready to go. I add the morning announcements video into my daily slides where I tell my students directions and I help it to aid transitions. I have a slide in there for the morning announcements, and it's a video that someone in our staff makes and uploads into Google Drive, so I have to insert it into my slides. I shared about that in all my teaching slides video, so I will link that for you. I have to update the Math Flex slide with the page number for the exit ticket they're gonna complete that day, submit lunch count, submit attendance, and then submit house points in a Google form. Then under weekly tasks, these are gonna be more of my actual lesson planning tasks. So for example, update the bookmarks and Google Drive start section. Once a week, I just like to go through my Google Drive, make sure it's up to date. Same thing with my bookmarks bar, and it just helps me stay organized. Set up my weekly slides. Again, I shared about this in my All About My Teaching Slides video, but that is once a week I kind of go through, I put in all the dates and important reminders and things for my students. I will prepare the science investigation. Typically on Mondays, we will do a science investigation for the week, and so I like to make sure that I have everything ready to go for that. Creating the math lesson slides, which we're gonna chat more about, updating the math unit overview organizer with dates, materials, and links. We're gonna chat about that as well. I have a free template for you, keep watching. Share files for copies needed. So if there are any math copies needed, for example, okay, apparently my team teacher has not made the copies yet, it's fine. But because I'm the one making the math slides for my team, one of the other math teachers is responsible for the math homework as well as any other copies. So notes that we are using. So I have my anchor charts, hold on. Okay, so within my students' math notebooks, I give them printed copies of notes. And so I will share these files with my team teacher to print and make copies for us. But now that we have our math workbooks for our curriculum, which is Eureka, we don't make a lot of copies besides the notes and then homework. Prepare Tuesday folders, I have to do that every single week. Obviously, prepare study hall lists. So study hall is a time on Friday, so making sure if students are missing any work, I look at their iReady minutes, things like that. Schedule the weekly newsletter to send at 3 p.m. on a Friday. I have an email template. All I have to do is copy and paste. One of my team teachers sends an email to all of us with the information to include. So that's very simple. Send the Golden Emerson email, so whichever student got selected as the Golden Emerson, I send their family an email on Fridays. Complete the second step lesson for the week, that is an SEL or social emotional learning curriculum. Get ready for the Golden Emerson Award, so making sure I pull out my confetti and have the trophy ready to go, the necklace, the candy. Grade math assignment, math homework, and science assignment. So pretty much every week we will have a graded math, science, and homework assignment, and then monthly tasks, teaching the digital citizenship lesson and submit the Google form. I'll be honest, I'm still kind of building out these checklists as I get used to the new routine, and I haven't even settled into a good routine yet because I'm still getting used to how things are done here and what planning looks like here and all of the things. So it's a work in progress, but that's a general idea of how I am organizing all of the tasks that I have to get done from week to week, month to month, day to day. Now I'm fully aware that this is kind of a boring video because I'm just sitting here in front of a computer talking to you, but that's the reality of lesson planning. That's how you spend a majority of the time. So it's fine, we're gonna go with it. Now, in terms of unit organization, one of the best things I ever did early on in my teaching career is shifted from just planning weekly and kind of organizing my plans by week to organizing them by unit. And obviously it depends on your curriculum and your standards and what that looks like for you. But my very first year of teaching, I organized everything by like the first week of September, the second week of September, but it has since made a lot more sense for me just to organize everything by unit. So let's chat about Google Drive. This is where I house all of my digital planning materials, which almost everything I use is digital. So within my Google Drive, I have folders for kind of the different areas, but specifically I have a folder for math, and then within each subject, so within math, I have a folder for each unit, and each unit then has all of the materials I need. So the slides, the printables, homeworks, reviews, all of the things are within that folder. Now, I used to organize this kind of on my own, but now this is within our like team Google Drive. That way I can share it with all of my coworkers. Moving on from Google Drive, the next thing I have is like a unit overview. Now, I have done a previous video all about organizing my units, which I will link for you, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail. But I have shared this free unit overview template, and I'll link it for you again. It's essentially a one-stop shop for the unit where it outlines the standards, the objectives, materials, both physical materials as well as digital materials. I usually add in links, so I have direct access to all of those digital materials in one spot. It gives me a list of possible activities or assessments that I can use, differentiation strategies, connections, lesson progression, notes. So after I teach a lesson, I know how to do it differently in the future. But I'll be honest, I have not been creating these this year for our units because my district actually has something very similar to this for each unit. However, what I have done is created what I'm calling like the unit overview organizer. So this is another template I will share with you for free, link down in the description box. This is more so just a way for me to keep straight the planning process. Like, where am I at within the planning process? Because we have a new math curriculum this year, we are kind of creating everything from scratch. Like, it's our first time doing it. And because I'm the one creating the math lessons, like the slides, I need a way for me to keep track of what I have done. So this is what I put together. Essentially, I have the unit title at the top, and then I have a row for each different lesson. So for us, it's organized by day. So day 1, day 2, day 3, but you could put the lesson number if it's like lesson 1.1, 1.2. I put the date that we are teaching it, and this is also a way to easily communicate with my team teachers. I will put the general lesson topic. So this will say something like multiplicative comparisons or connecting the area model and partial product strategies, just a general idea of what that lesson is covering. And then I have this drop down next to status. So I've kept it simple. It's just need to plan, in progress, or ready. Once again, it's a way for me to communicate with my team teachers where I'm kind of at in that planning process. I have a spot to list materials. That way, at a quick glance, my team teachers can go, oh, for this lesson, here's what I need, which I will then add materials and link them if they're available digitally. I'll show you what that looks like. And then I have a spot for notes. So this might be something like, hey, today there's no application problem, or this is to prepare students for this in tomorrow's lesson, just general comments or notes. If we have a graded assignment that goes with that lesson, I will link that here as well. And I'll typically put like the title of the graded assignment, the number of points, and a link to the answer key. But I've been filling this out for each unit as I go. This just sits within that unit's Google Drive folder as I showed you, and that way my team teachers have access to it. So that's how I'm organizing my units. Now let's talk more about how I'm organizing kind of my day-to-day plans. Again, if you saw my All About My Teaching Slides video, then you have already seen this kind of layout for my teaching slides. So go back and watch that video. I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but I've been creating a set of slides for each lesson within the unit, and this is what I use to teach from. So for example, day 1, I have kind of the overview slide with the objective. These are all linked so I can jump to the different parts of the lesson, and you'll notice this one does not have an application problem, but if I go back to the table of contents page and go to day 2, this one has an application problem. So from here, I have like the spiral review, and I have it all animated. We then have like the fluency practice. I'm gonna skip forward. We have the application problem, the concept development. So this is where we're kind of building out the lesson. So here's an example. We're talking about multiplicative comparisons. And then we will have the debrief. This is where we'll have questions that we kind of go over, and then the exit ticket. Now, as I'm creating these, I am also filling in that unit overview. So I mentioned having links. For example, I will link where it says day 1, I will actually link this specific text to the day 1 slide. So as I finish that lesson, I will take this link, which I can just come up here to the address bar, copy it, come over to the unit overview. I'm gonna add a link, so I can either right click and then I can come down to insert link, or I can use the keyboard shortcuts, paste the link, click apply. That way when my team teachers click on this, it will take them directly to not only that Google Slides, but specifically to that slide. I also will, as I mentioned, update the date and the topic. This will get changed to ready once it's all done. I will list out materials. So for example, if I needed multiplicative comparison notes, I will add that in because that's something my team teachers will need a physical copy of to be able to glue in student notebooks. And I will then go into the math notes. Now these are my upper elementary math anchor charts and notes reference sheets. I will link them for you. They are editable notes pages within Google Slides. So you can print these and glue them in student notebooks, as I already showed you, like I give my students notes for all of the topics, but you can also give students access to them digitally. I actually have a full video all about my notes, so I will link that for you as well. But this is how I communicate with my team teacher what copies we need. So for example, if we need copies of this page, now I put multiplicative comparison notes, but just as an example, I would copy this and then I would link this specific text so that they can click on it, it takes them right there. But then I would also take this document and I would share it with my team teacher who's making copies and say, hey, slide 3, we need one for every student. And that's a really easy way for me to kind of communicate that. And again, I would add in any notes as needed. But for me, that's what lesson planning looks like. It's a matter of updating this overview, creating the slides, sharing out the copies. Now, the only other piece of this that I didn't go into, mostly because I feel like it would need its own video, is the scope and sequence and how I organize that. Now, my scope and sequence is provided to me by my district. So they have told us, hey, here's your allotment of days for this unit. Here's the time span that you need to teach it. Students need to be taking the assessment within this window. But what I would like to share, if you're interested, because I don't know if you care, but if you are interested, I can make a whole video on how I keep that organized for myself, and I utilize Google Calendar. So at the beginning of the year, I actually created a Google Calendar all about the scope and sequence. So I've already put in the dates for the entire year, and then I can easily manipulate them and shift them around if needed. So if that is of interest for you, let me know down in the comments. I can do a full video on that, but otherwise, that's essentially what lesson planning looks like for me. Right now, it's taking a little bit longer because I'm still trying to build out these systems. And as I mentioned, the math curriculum is brand new. So I am trying to learn it myself and then figure out how to best teach it to my students. And that's a whole process. But the way that I am structuring this will make my life so much easier next year because all of the slides will be done. It will just be a matter of adjusting the dates, making small tweaks here and there to fit my students' needs, but the bulk of the work will be done. So hopefully this video was helpful for you. I don't know if it was, but I feel like as teachers, sometimes we just need to see different ways of doing things, and it's not about copying directly what someone else is doing, but rather taking the bits and pieces that we know will work for us and making those slight adjustments in order to fit our planning style, our students' needs, our curriculum, all of that. But if you enjoyed this video, please Give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I will catch you in the next one.